All right, section 4.3, definition of congruent triangles. The goal in this chapter, this section, is to prove triangles are congruent. We're going to have a bunch of different ways we're going to do that. First, we've got to talk about what the definition of congruence is. But we want to prove triangles are congruent because once we prove them congruent, then we can prove everything else is congruent. Proving triangles congruent is a step towards other things. We don't prove triangles congruent just to prove them congruent. We prove them congruent so we can do other things. Just like you don't go to the grocery store just to go to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store so you can get some food so you can cook something. You don't go in the weight room just to go in the weight room. You go in the weight room so you can get stronger so you're better at basketball or wrestling or football or tennis, swimming, whatever it may be. So, this is just one step along the way though. So we're going to talk about congruent triangles today. Here's the official definition of congruent triangles. Triangle ABC and triangle DEF are congruent if and only if all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. All sides are congruent. All angles are congruent. When I say all sides, I mean all corresponding sides. All corresponding sides and all corresponding angles. If they are congruent, then the two triangles are congruent. This is the definition. So we're going to start right up here. Identify all the congruent parts of triangle wax and triangle toe. Then we will write a congruent statement. So if you would please raise your hand and give me one pair of sides that are congruent. Yes, sir.
OE and WA.
OE is congruent to WA. Correct. Yes, sir.
WX and DE.
WX and TE. Yes, sir.
AX and TO.
AX and TO. Well, we gotta find some angles. What angles are congruent? Angle A and angle O. Can you get another one? Angle X and angle T. Angle A is congruent to angle O. We don't know how much angle E is, do we? That's okay though. We can do our little triangle sum theorem here. 180 degrees in a triangle, minus 90, minus 36. Guess what? Can give me 54. So angle E and angle W. Now we just have to write a congruent statement. To write a congruent statement, we're just going to say triangle, and say wax is congruent to triangle, and I'm not going to say toe because those don't match up. Triangle wax is congruent to triangle. What matches up with W? Shout it out. 1, 2, 3. E. What matches up with angle A? O, and then T. E-O-T. Yoke. Triangle wax is congruent to triangle yoke. So you have to make sure everything corresponds correctly. And let's check. W-A. Is that congruent to E-O? W-A and E-O. We're good. Alright, so that's one thing you have to do here. You have to make sure that it doesn't matter which way you go around. You can say wax. We call this axle. Okay, that's fine. As long as you make the other three match up correctly. Make the other three match up correctly, make sure they correspond. The other thing we can do here is, we're not just going to do triangles. Well, the chapter's going to be about triangles, but today we'll deal with other polygons as well. If you know two shapes are congruent, if they are congruent, that means all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. So we got to find x right here. We got to find y and we got to find z. I didn't put a z up there. Oh, I did put a z up there. Okay. I will give you 30 seconds here to discuss this with your team. Please note that down here it said ABCD is congruent to OPMN. OPMN. So talk with your team here. Give you 30 seconds. How do you find X? How do you find Y? How do you find Z? Go. Kevin, you can turn around talking. Four, three, two, one. My turn. All right. AB is going to match up with what? OP. AB matches up with OP. So 3x plus 1 is equal to 13. So you work that out, you're going to get x is equal to 4. Let's see here. AD, y is AD. So AD. AD is going to match up with ON. So I look over here to ON. Oh, so that's going to be 7. Y is equal to 7. And angle Z, it's your Z degrees right here, that's D. D matches up with N. So Z is equal to 110. Pretty simple. So the big idea here, congruent triangles. The next section we're going to be doing is we're going to be proving the triangles are congruent, and once the triangles are congruent, we can say, hey, the triangles are congruent, which means these two sides have to be congruent. Or the triangles are congruent, so these two angles have to be congruent. It's a stepping stone to other things. Stepping stone to other things. This definition by itself, not super important. But it's what comes after that's really important. The big idea today, definition of congruent triangles. If the triangles are congruent, then all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. Take about 10 seconds here, summarize this in your own words to your team, and then you may begin your homework.